Donald Peterson presents The True Adventures of Junior G-Men.
The Junior G-Men are on the air, speeding to your homes, ready for action.
Stand by. All Junior G-Men, stand by. Stand by for thrilling details of the secret that had to be kept. Calling all Junior G-Men. Calling all Junior G-Men. Stand by for report of Junior G-Man Bob Holt concerning
The secret that had to be kept. Conclusion of report number 906 is given by Operator Bob Holt of Franklin.
Well, fellas, Mr. Parker, the president of the Franklin National Bank, had been blackmailed for the last 5 years by someone who had discovered his secret. You see, he'd served 5 years in state prison for a robbery he hadn't committed. Some years later, the man who was really guilty died in the Hudson Hospital before Mr. Parker could find out if he'd confessed to anyone else. Now Mr. Parker was suspicious of 4 men: Dick Horton, George Mencken, Dr. Bennett, and Phil Shanley, and invited them, along with Dad and me, to spend the weekend with him at his hunting lodge. Dad and I drove off with Mr. Parker, and the others came the next day with Vincent Hunter, Mr. Parker's secretary. And after they arrived, things started happening. It was while Dad and I were getting ready for bed that Mr. Parker rushed in and told us that he'd just gone to his room and found Hunter's body lying on the floor. Someone had stabbed him. And I believe that it had been done by the same man who'd been blackmailing Mr. Parker. Of course, the guests were all upset. And it didn't help very much when I found out that the police couldn't get over until the following morning because of the heavy snowfall. Well, after Dad and I went back to our room.
Oh, I don't know, son. The more I think about it, the more mixed up it becomes.
Yeah, I know that.
Oh, that sounded like a shot.
Gosh, Dad, he's full.
Come on, son. Stick close to me. We're going to find out what this is all about. This way, lay up this door. There we are now. Hold, come here. What's the matter, Major? What's happened? It's Stanley Holt. Parker, just shot him. Good heavens. Why did you do it, Parker?
Stanley was right. Well, never mind that now. We have time for that later. Right now, we've got to attend to Chandler.
Well, then he isn't dead?
Dead? No. Chandler will be quite all right in an hour or two. It's just a rather nasty flesh wound. But come on. Let me carry him into Dr. Bennett's room.
Well, Mr. Shanley was carried into Dr. Bennett's room, and his wound was attended to. Naturally, everyone wanted to know what had happened. And when Mr. Shanley was feeling well enough to talk, Dr. Bennett asked,
do you suppose you're strong enough to answer a few questions?
What's the matter, Stanley? You don't seem to like the idea.
You've got a nerve, Parker. First you try to kill me, and then you insinuate that I'm afraid to be questioned. Go ahead, ask your questions. I'll answer them. You can depend on me.
All right, then. You were present when I warned everyone not to enter my room, weren't you? You heard me say that Hunter's body was not to be touched until the police arrived.
Yes.
Then why did you go to my room? And why did I find you going through Hunter's pockets?
For the very simple reason that I hope to find a clue to the identity of his murderer.
Since when have you become a detective?
I'm not a detective, Parker, but I know what you're up to, and I know what you've done.
What do you mean?
You've murdered Hunter, just as you planned to murder us all.
Why, you poor fool. Why should I try to murder you? Why should
I don't know, Parker. That is not yet. But I'll find out. There must have been a reason for your calling us all up here. You never liked any of us, and we never liked you. That's true, isn't it?
Yes, it's true. Whatever my reason for inviting you up here is, it's my own business.
Your own business, eh? You go about stabbing people, shooting at them, and it's your own business. Well,
You've said enough, Stanley.
Oh, no, I haven't. I haven't even begun. I was in your room, it's true. I was also going through Hunter's pockets. But there was absolutely no reason for your taking a shot at me. There is no reason except that you were glad of the opportunity. You wanted to kill me, and that you...
Hold it, Parker, hold it. Let go of me!
Yes,
Stop
let
it!
go of him.
Stop it, both of you. This isn't going to get us anywhere.
I hope like... You're feeling like children.
But you accuse me of murder.
What of it, Parker? After all, we're all suspects, aren't we?
And it's a little odd that we should happen to walk in on Shanley at just the right moment.
If you mean...
I don't mean a thing, Parker. It's simply that I'm a little curious about your actions myself.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm inclined to wonder just why you brought yourself up to that room. I'm not mistaken, you planned to spend the rest of the night in one of the guest rooms.
Yes, that's true, but I'd forgotten to lock the door of my own room.
And of course you returned to do so.
Yes, exactly.
I see. And when you found Shanley,
I shot him. I didn't know it was Shanley until it was too late. Perhaps I wasn't able to make this thing is just to all upset my nerves.
Yes, I know, Parker. Your nerves are shattered. But that still doesn't excuse you for trying to murder Shanley.
I wasn't trying.
All right, whatever you say. Just don't excite yourself. Now, look here, all of you. I think the best and the safest thing we can do is to go downstairs and sit around the fire with keep an eye on each other. What do you say, Holt?
Well, Shanley, as far as I'm concerned, you and the others can do just as you please. But I'm going to see that my son gets some rest.
Oh, of course. Of course, you can join us later, that is, if you care.
Thank you, Shanley, but I don't think I will. In view of what's happened so far this evening, I believe my place is right beside Bob's.
Well, the other men went downstairs, and Dad and I returned to our room. As soon as we got there...
Well, son, you'd better climb right into bed.
Gosh, wait a second, Dad. I was doing an awful lot of thinking while all the talking was going on, and I believe I found the answer to the whole business.
And just what is that answer, Bob?
Well, in the first place, Mr. Parker went to prison and served 5 years for a crime he didn't commit.
Yes?
And then after he'd served his sentence, he came to Franklin, got a job at a bank, and there you are, Dad. That's the way I figured it out.
But look here, Bob, what about Hunter? Where does he fit into the picture? And why was he murdered?
Oh, that's simple, Dad. Hunter probably found out who the blackmailer was, and instead of telling Mr. Parker, went to the blackmailer and made a deal with him.
In other words, you think that...
In other words, Hunter promised to keep his mouth shut if he were given a share of the money the blackmailer was getting from Mr. Parker.
I see. And the reason for the murder was...
Probably that Hunter wasn't getting all he wanted, and he threatened to tell Mr. Parker all about it. Gee whiz, Dad, well, it all hangs together, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And you've only got to make that one telephone call to make sure that the connection between Jordan and the blackmailer really existed.
That's right, son. That telephone call will just about clear up everything.
Then you're going to make it?
Yes, Bob, I am. And I have an idea it will force the blackmailer's hand. Now, here's what I'm going to do.
Well, Dad left me in the room, went downstairs, and called Mr. Parker aside. After he'd finished explaining what I told him, Mr. Parker made the telephone call and found out that my hunch was right. Dad and he immediately rejoined the other men.
Now, if you gentlemen aren't too tired to listen, I have a little story I'd like to tell you.
Well, is it a good one, Parker?
Well, Bennett, that all depends on whether or not you're interested in crime.
Oh, good heavens, a detective story.
What's the matter, Horton? Don't you like detective stories?
I detest them. Besides, I'm...
Well, I have an idea this story of mine will keep you awake. Oh, by the way, Nathan, where are you going?
Oh, I'm just trying to get comfortable, that's all.
I see. Well, just try this chair right in front of me. I'm sure you'll find it most comfortable.
You're being very mysterious, Parker.
Am I, Stanley? Well, perhaps I have a reason. Let's get on with my story. 27 years ago, a man by the name of William Palmer went to prison for a crime he didn't commit. He served 5 years. 5 long years, and then, after his release, he changed his name, came east to Franklin, and got a job in the Franklin National Bank. He worked hard, and after 15 years...
Became president of the bank under his assumed name of Parker.
Exactly, Stanley, exactly. You're really a very good detective. Well, gentlemen, 12 years ago, I was almost able to clear myself. A man by the name of Jordan sent for me. He was dying in the Hudson Hospital and wanted to confess to the crime for which I'd already paid. Unfortunately, he died before I was able to get any witnesses. And for all I knew, he hadn't told another soul. But that's where I was mistaken. He had told someone else. One other person. The But that person, instead of coming forward and clearing me, decided to keep the knowledge of my innocence to himself and to use it when he cared to do so.
And did he?
What do you think, Benny?
I suppose he did.
Yes, he did. And he's been using it for the last 5 years.
You've been blackmailed then?
Thoroughly. And the blackmailer refused to share the money I'd been paying him with my secretary, who'd accidentally stumbled onto the truth. That's why Hunter was here.
Very interesting story.
It seems to have put Horton to sleep. Unless, of course, he's planning.
Tell me, Parker, you know who this blackmailer is?
Yes. Yes, Stanley, I do. And you should, too. You see, there's a very definite connection between a man dying in a hospital and you, Doctor.
Why, you're accusing
I
me.
certainly am. You're the blackmailer.
What?
The man who murdered Hunter. And the doctor who, according to the Hudson Hospital records, attended Jordan. He was afraid he wouldn't live until I arrived. And so he confided in you, Bennett. He told you the whole story and believed that you'd come through, but you didn't.
It's a lie. The whole thing is a lie. You can't prove a word of what you're saying. You can't...
No, Bennett, I can't prove a thing, but I'm sure I'm right. And that's all that matters. You see, I'm taking the law into my own hands.
What do you mean?
I'm going to kill you, Bennett. I promised myself I would, and I'm not going to...
Put down that gun. Put it down, Parker.
Heavens, Parker, what do you think you're doing here? Stand back. Stand back, all of you. I'll shoot the first man that tries to stop me. Stand up, then. Come on. Stand up. I want to see you do it.
Parker. Parker, you can't do this, Parker. You've got to give me a chance.
I'll give you a chance. A chance to say your prayers. And you better hurry because...
Listen, Parker, you'll get the chair.
I'm not afraid of that. No jury would ever send me to the chair for killing a rat like you. Go on. Pray.
Please, Parker.
Pray. Go on. Pray.
I can't, Parker. I can't.
All right, then. Don't.
Wait, Parker. I did it. I did it. Jordan told me all about it, and...
Yes, I know. And you killed Hunter, too.
Yes, but don't kill me, Parker. Don't kill me. Let me face the jury.
Of course, and you'll find the jury a lot more deadly than this gun I'm holding. You see, Dennis, it wasn't close.
Why, you...
Take it easy, Dennis. Take it easy. You've said enough. More than enough. And I've got plenty of witnesses. You should have stood the minute.
The following day, the police came and took Dr. Bennett away. He goes on trial next week. Well, I imagine you have a pretty fair idea of what's going to happen to him. Just another example of the old story. When anyone drifts off the straight and narrow, he leaves a trail that just can't be covered, and the law always catches up with him.
Stand by, all Unity men, stand by for thrilling details concerning the next broadcast. Calling all junior G-men to proceed at once to points of duty. Calling junior G-men 836 to report to Director Donald Peterson at the next meeting on this station to give detailed report concerning...
Another thrilling junior G-man adventure.